see that a desert is an unfavorable condition for the plant to grow or to thrive, but it just grow anyway. So what I say resilient is something like a plant, is that despite the unfavorable condition, we just grow no matter what. So let's get started. What is resilience actually? To me, it is more like a mindset. It's about to learn to grow under different difficulties. Even when you fall into a crack, like this little plant, but you will still be like you're able, you know that you're able to still to grow and to thrive even you are living in the crack. Let's just try to be the best you can be, and this is the mindset of resilience. According to Amy Sood, the executive director of the Global Center of Resiliency and Well-being, he stated that of your ability to withstand adversity and bounce back and grow despite life's downturns. So at the very um, at the first part of this presentation, it will be quite um, uh, informative. Informative. Because we will describe what is this difficult, what is what is adversity, and how are we going to deal with adversity. So what is adversity actually? Later, I will elaborate a little bit more on the definition of resilience, adversity, etc. But today, I'm going to share a bit how I was going to deal with it and what kind of mindset I think we should give ourselves in this fast-changing future. By definition, so first of all, I'm not trying to make these slides too complicated, so I did not take the definition of resilience from academic papers. This is actually the definition from Cambridge Dictionary. So, to put it simple, everyone now is under huge adversity, which is COVID-19. Yes, we live under the midst of uncertainty right now, and many people are actually suffering from the negative impact brought by it, directly or indirectly. It seriously harmed the public health and global economics. So, as you can see, there is a need for us to learn about how we can deal with these problems brought by it with resilience mindset. So, how exactly we are going to deal with it? Oh, this is the Chinese word of crisis, 危機 in Cantonese. The first word is about danger. This word, it refers to danger. And the second word refers to opportunity. I like this word very much because it showed us like how the Asian people see crisis. They see that there is a danger. Yes, there is a danger, but they have a mindset that opportunity comes after danger. So it is time for us to seize the opportunity to learn and to grow. Oh, so it's about to us. It is about how you see obstacles. Some people will just see danger, but I believe most of us here can see there is opportunity as well. It is time for us to learn something new. So these are the topics we're going to cover today. This is the biopsychosocial spiritual well-being cycle. But today I'm going to cover the adverse or stressful events to describe what are the adverse and stressful events right now and how we are going to deal with it with self-care practices. So these are the things I'm going to talk about today. And I'm not going to further depress you by offering. I've been through different workshops too. Like when I was attending the course, the professor showed us a lot of different symptoms and data about how stressful modern people are. But I'm not going to tell you to further depress you because um, let's talk about how to deal with it. So how to deal with stress? The stress we are facing today may be maybe academic pressure. It may be come from work or comes from our family. Or it comes from our concerns towards public health. According to this is definition of stress. It is a body's natural defense against prejudice and danger. So it is something kind of inborn. It is it includes psychological and physical responses as well. So are all stress bad? Most of the people think there is only one type of stress, which is distress. They think it is something which brings us anxiety or depression, but actually, stress affects our health in different ways. We got bad stress, which is what we call de-stress. Also, we got good stress, what we call e-stress, which is something actually quite good. For the e-stress, it is the positive view of stress. It is actually good for health instead of like distress, which brings us anxiety and depression. It keeps us motivated to work towards our goals and feel positive for our life. They strengthen actually instead of just breaking you down, it actually strengthen our pressure resistance and empower us to grow. It's something that it's just like the fuel that keeps you motivated and keep driving you towards the ultimate goals you want to achieve. So actually these are the effects brought by distress. However, the stress, the negative view of stress, they bring you different difficulties or obstacles. It happens when you have an excessive adaptive demand. When you cannot manage the demand pretty well, it might bring distress. And it might cause mental problems as well, like as we mentioned, depression or anxiety. And people will suffer from depression or anxiety more easily under a huge amount of distress. These are the three factors which bring us distress: uncontrollable event, unpredictable event, intense or repeated event. So we are going to talk about, we have to know about distress, we have to know about our enemy, so we can know how we can deal with it. For the uncontrollable event, it is usually caused by like external situation. For example, the global economic recession or something that like COVID-19, which is something kind of you cannot can control, and you will feel stressful about it. Also, decisions from superior. If you work in a very big company and if you are very unlucky and you encounter a boss which is really like a boss and he's like a dictator that he gives, it is not leadership, it is just like uh, giving you orders or instructions. And these when you are under these kind of like if you are under this kind of supervisors and their decisions is somehow you cannot control. So it will bring you a lot of stress as well. The third thing is about natural event. For example, if you are a project manager and you are going to hold an event outside, and this is something you cannot control whether when you are holding an event outside, the weather is something out of your control because you don't know whether it will rain or not. Oops. Okay, unpredictable. For example, like what happened just now is an unforeseeable technical problems that uh, it happens when you are using different kind of machines or you are using a computer, but certainly it just does not work. You did not see it coming, so it's unpredictable. And for example, accidents like when you are driving a car and suddenly some drunk driver just came across the road and crashed onto you, and the road is blocked and you cannot pass through. These are something unpredictable, which brings you stress, especially when you are going to work. The third one is the disease like cancer. This is something we do not see coming and which brings you a lot of generally unpredictable events brings you a lot of stress because you do not know when it will come and you might start worrying what will be the consequence and what will you do if it happens. The third one is about intense or repeated workload. For example, when you are work in business sector, you might have keep tracking of prospecting companies. These are the repetitive workloads. And the other thing is about classifying documents. Uh, if you work in a, like investment bank, you will encounter competitive working environment, which brings you a lot of stress because you cannot sleep well during night because you worry about what will happen to the market uh, tomorrow. These are the intense uh, repeated. These are stress brought by with intense repeated events. So these are the data like how stress really affect your business. A study conducted by Mental Health America, formerly the National Mental Health Association, it suggested that stress cost United States employees an estimated $500 billion in lost productivity annually.
It's expensive.
So
Stress.
yeah, it did affect how um, the productivity of employees, and it brings a lot, it causes a lot of different kinds of difficulties and problems to different to the companies when, especially when they're under adversity, especially when the external conditions is not good for them to thrive. So why do we need? Why we talk about resilience skills now in this workshop? Is that resilience enables organizations to remain profitable and competitive. So this is, as I mentioned before, it is more like a mindset. To know that this is, you have to remain the positive attitude towards obstacles and challenges, and you know you will find a way out eventually. So you use different you will stay calm, use different systematic approach to solve the problems bit by bit, which we will cover later about how we are going to use these resilience skills. And employee low on resilience are 4 times more likely to burn out. And when they burn out, they cannot perform uh, as well as before. And that's why we can see there is a loss in productivity before. Okay, here's the main part of today's workshop about how we are going to deal with these kind of stressful events. First of all, we have to face it, accept it, deal with it, and let it go. So let's talk about how we deal with it. So face it. I would like to use an example, like for this presentation. Like I'm going to prepare this presentation, and if I'm afraid that I cannot do well. I will try to escape from obstacles, but this says the problem still exists. I still need to do the presentation, and I cannot escape from obstacles. Like when I was preparing for the presentation, the time, I mean, uh, I, if I got a lot of work to do, but if I escape, the problem still exists, and I still have to do the presentation. So the first step of dealing with obstacles or stressful events is to face it and accept it. It is, as I mentioned many times, it's like a mindset. You have to accept that you might not, you understand the situation, like you understand the consequence, like you might not be able to do well. Even if you do well, you know that uh, what are you, how are you going to deal with it? You accept challenges, and you understand how you are going to deal with it systematically and stay calm. The third is to deal with it. So just thinking is not enough. You have to grab your pen and make a plan. So you have to know how to solve it. Try to break down different problems or difficulties step by step into different parts. And for each different part, you can break down into divided into different subparts. For each subpart, you develop a plan. It might not be something really great, but when you develop different strategies or solutions to these supports, eventually you will generate um, real solutions to tackle the root cause of the problem. And that's why you have to grab your paper, analyze the problem with like root cause analysis. Identify the root cause, and you make a plan to tackle it step by step. Finally, eventually, if I cannot do this presentation well, so what should I do? Sometimes people will just thinking over and over again, and sometimes they cannot sleep because they did something wrong before. But sometimes it's just like you cannot grab the rope too tight, or else it might hurt yourself. Sometimes you have to learn to let it go and go back and think how you can perform better when next time when you deal with the presentation. Sometimes you just need to let it go to make yourself feel better. So you are ready for the next challenges. So it is one of the very most very important steps among the four steps. Learn how to let it go. So here are some practical advices to take a break, avoid multitask, distribution of workload, define role, take a deep breath, and get some sunlight. So why attention is like a pie. I really like this picture actually. Um, it's like a pie. You got a fixed amount of attention, and if you divide them into different tasks, researchers have shown that you cannot excel in when you multitask because some part of your energy is used on different parts simultaneously. So try not to multitask in order to excel on the task you're working, or else you may feel very stressful. Walk out of the office and get some sunshine. Actually, according to research, when you get some sunshine, like research is conducted by like oh sorry, researchers measure levels of brain chemicals flowing directly out of the brain, found that people had higher of the chemicals which brings you good mood when they are on a bright sunny days instead of on cloudy days. So when you're working and you feel really stressful, when you feel like you're under a lot of pressure and you can barely breathe, try to stop and walk out of the office and get some sunlight, and it will actually help. It's a scientific proof. Yes. Arrange time to have a break. Sometimes people just think that they are too busy to have a break. In fact, when you have a break, it is much more efficient for you to work to keep on working. So it is very important to arrange time to have a break so you can work for a longer period of time. You concentrate better. You can focus on the work better. And for example, like if you work for 30 minutes, you have to take a 5 minutes break. So it is better for your health physically because you can uh, it's good for your eye physically and mentally, so you can feel relief and you can escape from work for like 5 minutes and get back with a better you. And define role, it is important for you to have a very clear role definition about what people are going to do. So when you have a very clear definition of the role, people understand that what are they responsible for. It also requires effective communication. So it is very important for you to communicate well with your teammates. So you are able to produce a better outcome. And that's why we have to distribute workload. So everyone, what is a good leader is that he or she is able to distribute the workload according uh, what um, different team members are good at. If they're good at something, try to distribute workload that they are able to perform well in order to maximize the productivity. And that's how it works. And I like this picture. Just breathe. Really, just breathe.
Just
I would
breathe.
yes. And so for all of us attendees here, we can use 10 seconds to breathe. Like, yes, really, take a deep breath. Try to take a deep breath. Researchers have shown that um, taking a deep breath, the intake of oxygen helps relieve your stress. It is a very simple and easy task. And it is very important for you to take a deep breath correctly. Like when you deep breathe in breathe correctly, your belly will kind of like expand. And that's how the correct way to breathe. And that's how you can feel relieved after taking a deep breath. It's a very effective method for you to gain energy and to get a it's all about mindset. Resilience is something like we have it's like a story we have heard a lot of times. How you see the half glass of water. It's all about your perspective, seeing obstacles and challenges. Try not to make it to see it as a mountain you cannot overcome. Try to break it step by step and try to thrive. And you know that you are able to achieve it. You are able to overcome the challenges. It is very important for you to have a clear mindset. And here's a 1 minute mind first aid exercise to handle adversity. First of all, try to check from your past experience to see whether your thought is true. It's like, oh, I will use the presentation again. It's not true that uh, I'm not, I did not do well in the presentation because I did not prepare well. Try to fix whether your thought is true, and then try to reframe it, see from a different perspective. A better way to see it as you have to identify the problems, the real problems. A better way to see it as that when I encounter, like when I receive, when I know that I need to prepare a presentation, maybe I really tried hard, but it eventually did not turn out pretty well. But why is that the case? We can see from different perspectives. Maybe I'm too nervous that I cannot even speak well, or I forgot the lines that I prepared before. Try to see from different perspectives. And here goes the most important stage, which is how to execute. Like to, if you stop at the reframe stage, it will not improve. Instead, it's like more like an escape from like, oh, it's just that I'm too nervous, and next time if I'm not nervous, then I will be fine. It's not something like that. So the third stage is very important. You have to make a plan, a contingency plan. If this happens, I will do what? If I got nervous attack when I have presentation again, I will take a sip of water and think about what am I going to do and what am I going to think about. So take a sip of water and take a deep breath. I will take a deep breath. I will take a deep breath. Then I think, then I got back my lines. Okay, so this is how we are going to deal with different challenges, obstacles. If this happens, I will do what? So you will feel much better yourself as well. This is about the mindset, the execution of how you overcome challenges, how you analyze the problems, and how to see from different perspectives. So these are the reference. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. You are more than welcome to ask me any questions. Thank you.